Hello and welcome to this week's episode, the final week of the season's episode of Cowboys Takeover Podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Jason Kent. With me, as always, the illustrious co-host, Mr. Aaron James. Aaron, I got some good news today. You know what the news was? And second good news was all the Pro Bowlers Dallas has on such a team you would not expect. But hey, guys that made it are well deserving. But I got heard news today. Might be getting snow next Monday. This upcoming Monday. Super stoked. Snow day could mean awful work. I'd be excited for that.
Nice.
It'd make me happy. Then you get to go play in it. You get to go sled in it. All the fun stuff that I did, last year for the first time in a while because we haven't had snowfall. Like I feel like we never get it here anymore.
That's probably the most underrated part about snow days is that everything gets shut down. So it's guilt-free fun.
It really is. There's nothing better than getting that snow day. Like, it's so much better as an adult because I'm like, man, I get to not go to work. And then I get to go act like a child and go sledding. I don't have to. As a kid, like, you're already ready for it. You're like, I'm sleeping in. As an adult, I'm going to go play in the snow now. Make a couple snow angels. Now, or whitewash the kids. They don't like that as much. But as the dad, that's the privileges of being the dad. You get to, just whitewash the kids with the snow. They wouldn't appreciate it though. They hate it.
And so long as it's not like 20-mile-per-hour wind gusts, that kills it a little bit.
Yeah. No, and you get a good one and it's funny last year because we had we don't really get much snow, so the kids don't have snowshoes. So we had we have a nice little hill down the street. And last year it's funny and I felt terrible. This was before the neck surgery. Like I'm freaking out that I'm going to fall and hurt myself. And the kids are trying to like walk up the hill in their shoes and just slipping and falling down. And it was amusing. So I'm like holding onto the tree, trying to get them so I don't fall down with them. There's some tough times, but I was excited, but I'm excited. That was the good news. But to the second good news, man, you saw the Dallas Pro Bowl list for this year. Are you shocked? Anyone kind of the one name I was a little shocked at, or are you kind of like I kind of expected most of these guys to make it anyway?
I was a little shocked at Micah Parsons making it only because he missed so many games. Like, how do you miss? What was it, 5 or 6 games?
Quite a few, yeah.
And still make the Pro Bowl. I mean, I don't think he was.
Is it still fan vote?
You know what?
I honestly don't know anymore.
I think that's part of the pie, and then players and coaches. I think have another part.
He does have 9. Like I know not. It's only 9.5. Like this is the first time, depending on what he does. He's only played 12 games this year, so it is 4. So he still could get your 10. He's going to get his 10 sacks. I would say most likely. But yeah, that's why, I don't mean to interrupt, but I always hated those awards where like you throw it in there like, oh, this guy has this many Pro Bowls and, you base that on their statistics like, oh, because this guy made more. It's like, it's always fan vote. Like, how can you do incentive bases when you're letting it's more of a popularity contest? Like players that are more deserving don't always get there.
I mean, I would say more times than not, these are the top players in the league statistically. And I think it's a good recognition. If you're a player, you want to be able to say I made the Pro Bowl. It's a pretty big deal.
I don't think these days it is though. They don't play the game like they do.
No.
Yeah, I think they're shooting more for that All Pro. I think the Pro Bowl is a little bit more fun. To me, I wouldn't care as much as that one. If I didn't make it, I'm cool with it because so many people get it because so many guys turn it down and they just give away Pro Bowls at that point. That's why I don't really care as much about it. I don't know.
I don't know where. I mean, the game itself, I don't know what can be done.
You're right. To be recognized, you're right.
No, yeah, the recognition, it's huge.
But the 5 of them, CeeDee Lamb, as you mentioned, Micah, Tyler Smith, and the leg Aubrey, and recognizing Turpin as a kick returner, punt returner. Him as a dangerous weapon. So Dallas bringing in 5 Pro Bowlers this year. You can imagine they'd probably have a little more if Dak were healthy. And your other guys were healthy all season. But listen, they have 5 Pro Bowlers. I think it's good for Tyler Smith. he's getting, so I guess you're right there, build that confidence. I think he was second team all pro last year, wasn't he? If I'm not mistaken, I think he made it last
Yeah, I
year.
think that's
So
right.
good to see him build on that, especially knowing, you may lose um, Martin this year coming out, coming up. You're going to lose some guys. So you really need Tyler to really step up next year and really continue to blossom and continue to be one of the best players in the league. And of course, CeeDee Lamb, the kid's just been 1,000-yard receiver every year since that rookie year. He's exceeded my expectations. I knew he's good, but I didn't think he'd be this good. But he's really, really impressed me. I think this, all of these players are well deserving. Aubrey, I don't know
Mhm.
how many kickers you can really say at this point. I think he may be the best kicker in the league. I don't think that's all unfair to say.
No, it's not. I think most would agree. He missed, what was it, a 61 yarder that hit the mid post in the last game. I mean,
It was close. Yeah,
and it looks so effortless
it
for
does.
him. I mean, I'm just I don't know. I think this is going to set a trend. Like where his background is in soccer, and I think we'll see a trend of some soccer players making the transition to the NFL.
Well, I think that you see a lot of that because I know it's Pat McAfee. He was a soccer guy. Yeah, I think that it does play well, and he just I don't know. You just see. I don't know what the difference is. And like, I get 15 years, but I don't see guys throwing the ball that much farther. To see the field goals just continually go deeper and deeper and get, I remember Janikowski back in the mid 2000s, him like going out there just being drunk and booting like 75 yarders in practice and stuff. And like they're showing
Yeah,
pregame, like he was a guy that could really boot it, but there weren't dudes like if a 50 yarder seems so easy. Like when you look at Aubrey do it these days, man, the first kicker ever. That's hard to believe. First kicker ever with consecutive 10 plus 50-yard field goals. And this dude just makes it look so easy. When you think of some of the all-time greats, and listen, we're a kicker show, so you're gonna have to deal with it. Justin Tucker, you get Vinatieri, I remember Mike Vanderjagt, you get
yeah,
some of these all-time great kickers, and this kid just, hey, they probably are going to be looking at these soccer guys because he looks special.
yeah.
Effortless
He
is really
does.
the best way to describe it.
I think the extra added, punch that Janikowski gave was that he was left foot,
Well, he's also like 6'2", 250 pounds.
and just
He
like
was
a
heavy,
huge dude.
he was a
Yeah,
big
yeah.
dude. Like he was not your typical kicker.
Like
Dude could
in high
probably play
school,
linebacker.
you didn't want to be his holder. That's for sure.
No, in high school, I would. There's dude, yeah, that dude's running you over. That's the every position player right there. That's what that guy is. Man, it was amazing. But listen, and I know we're trying to stay away from it. We're talking about Pro Bowls, we're talking about snow. But I guess it's time to get into what happened week 17, man. When you
Mhm.
go into it, the game starts out kind of Dallas gets the ball. Game kind of starts out. You're excited as a Dallas fan to watch him really drive down the field, and just a boneheaded interception. It's one that you got to see. It's not like I don't know, man. The linebacker, the safety, CJ Gardner never left, and there was a DB pretty tight on the coverage too. Pass shouldn't have been thrown, but nonetheless, they drive down all the way down the field, get in the red zone. Cooper throws an interception for a touchdown. Next drive, you would think, man, you're playing the Eagles in Philly, and this is how you start the game. And he
Yeah.
does what you really, what I don't think any of us really expected him, but go down the field and just score next possession. Um, and I think as a Cowboys fan, you're pretty excited there because you're
Yeah.
like, man, they're moving the ball. Regardless of that interception for a touchdown, they're really moving the ball at ease against this Eagles team. And then
Mhm.
you kick the ball off, right? You get it down. Not only do you stop the Eagles, you get a 3-and-out. So when you're the Cowboys, you're feeling pretty high and mighty right now. Your defense came to play. Your offense really showed they came to play too. You really thought when you're watching the Eagles, you're like, they played exactly like I thought they would had Jalen Hurts been injured, very injured. They need to get the kid ready. You saw a lot of it. Mistakes didn't look accurate. Dallas took advantage. And that's when the wheels fell off because the Eagles punt the ball. You figure maybe you get something. Turpin doesn't really get a shot. You go 3 and out. Your defense comes out 3 and out again against them, though. You're feeling good. Your Dallas key forced to punt the ball again. So after those first 2 drives, you really put some yardage. You go 3 and out. You get a first down, but you do get stopped on your next one, and that's really where the game turns. After that, that last possession right there, where Dallas, they do get a first down, but then they, next 3 plays cannot do anything, have to punt the ball. Eagles start to take advantage. It just doesn't look good. That's where you have everything that's going bad. You get that's the drive where Dallas, they get the fumble, right? The sack fumble. You get Pickett, you're feeling good about yourself. And then you get the penalty that reverses it. So now instead of, I think it was 2nd down, so you get a third and God knows how long. Well, inside, now you're inside probably around the 15. Now you're 1st and 10 at the Eagles. So and just goes downhill, and they just boom, they go down, score a touchdown. You're Dallas, you fumble the ball, give up an easy field goal, interception, touchdown. You're not playing well after that. I don't know what happened. What did you see? What changed? Was it like, would that offense look so good those first 2 drives, and then it just seemed they couldn't get out of their own way? They would get a first down and start to put something together and just stall. What was different? Was it the Eagles defense? Was it Fangio, or was it just Cooper Rush that's who he is?
I don't know if you would agree with this, but when you run, because the Eagles, I think, ran 3 plays, offensive plays, all of the first quarter, right? And
I think so, yeah.
I don't know if you would agree with this, but when you're forced, because of the long drive, turnover, and then another long drive, when you're forced to show that many offensive plays in a row consecutively, I think it just gives the defense a good idea of what you want to do very early in the game.
Okay.
All right. So I think McCarthy, he was not expecting to run, well, maybe close to 20 plays in the first quarter. So I feel like you go deep into that arsenal of your play calling, and then it just gets a little bit too difficult to come up with stuff as the game progresses. I think there's a little element of that, because I always think about that personally when I play Madden. I'm like, wait, when you keep showing your hand, the best thing you could do on defense is just have them run as many plays as possible, and then you kind of pick up on their playbook and what they're trying to do.
Okay.
Right. So I think there's a little bit of element of that. I mean, Rico couldn't get, he had a couple of gash plays. I was pretty surprised. I think like a couple 8 or 9 yarders that did pretty well. And then at the end of the day, from a defensive perspective, and it pains me to say this, and I'm forgetting the DB's name that was kept getting cooked on Smith. I mean, it looked like we had a D2 college player out there.
He did cook Bland though too. Like it wasn't.
I mean,
like,
well, that was like a back shoulder touchdown that AJ had. I mean, Bland, yeah, he should have done better. Our expectations of him are much higher, but it is AJ Brown.
Come on. It was tough, and I that's where I agree with you, because I did get a text message from a friend, a former Stan fan who's an Eagles fan, talking highly of Devonta Smith after during that game, and I'm like, bud, come on. He's they got a rookie cornerback playing him. Your top guy. The Bland's going to follow AJ. You're getting your third. You're getting third, fourth string over here. The kid should be. Yeah. Come on. It's not. I wasn't as impressed, because they did feast on some not so talented players with their core.
Mm-hmm. And I think from a offensive perspective, it's the easiest. If you're going to pick on any player on the defense, it's the easiest to pick on a DB that's on an island.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you're missing an edge rusher or linebacker, I mean, yeah, it's going to hurt you if that starter's out. But there's nothing like a DB when you're that deep in the depth chart. And we needed a low scoring game. I think we both predicted both teams under 20, if I'm not mistaken. We really needed that low scoring game to have a chance, and it was already 24-7 by halftime.
Yeah, and it felt like early in the game, the defense really shut down Barkley, but it really felt like the longer that game went on, the kid just listen. I said it before the year started. I thought Eagles, they signed Barkley just in terms of pure offensive talent. They don't need an all-star quarterback throwing the ball. They're a team that built their team around knowing their quarterback's deficiencies and how to cover them up very well. So you can go in with a quarterback like AJ or Jalen Hurts. You could do that when you have an AJ Brown, when you have Devonta Smith, and then you add, Saquon Barkley, who everyone knew once he signed him, the kid was going to be probably lead the league in rushing. I don't think anybody envisioned 2,000 yards. But nobody thought it was out of the realm of possibility with how much talent that offense has. So it really was no shock.
Yeah.
And, Saquon, he wanted the record. He wanted 2,000 yards. I'm sure he wanted 2,000 yards at home because they know, they're playing Giants this week. So if he could get 2,000, if he was going to break the record, he'd do it against the Giants. But yeah, that Dallas defense the run defense played kind of like you thought it would against Saquon Barkley. Listen, we both picked him to win, but both of us kind of in our take the heart out of it thought that probably was more likely than us winning. If we're being honest with ourselves.
Oh yeah, it was like a dying wish that we had. We were already down for the count for the season. But it's interesting you say that about Barkley, because I don't know about you, but when I first saw the Eagles acquire Saquon, I thought of Saquon more as a decoy, splash plays, longevity, not we're going to run, Saquon's body to the ground. He's going to have 300 plus carries this year. And we're going to put our back on Saquon. I mean, that's how everything is unfolded, but.
Oh, I disagree, because regardless, and I don't care what anyone says, and I know I live in Eagles territory, and I'll take this. I don't care how many 1 or 2 yard rushing touchdowns your quarterback has. That does not make him a great quarterback. I'm sorry. At the end of the day, he's a very athletic quarterback. He's Cam Newton without the cannon. He's good. He's a good athlete, not a great quarterback. He's not the quarterback that you're going to rely on to go win the game. You're going to go rely on the other talent. That was just my opinion. So when they brought in Saquon, that was my thought, is you're going to see Jalen throw a lot less and just get the ball into the playmaker's hands and because you can't pack the box. When you have AJ Brown and Devonta Smith, when you have both with those two receivers, you can't load the box for Saquon. So I 100% figured they're going to run Saquon until he can't play. Why not? At this point, you paid the dude. Get your money's worth out of it. You can get a Super Bowl this year. He's worth that entire contract.
That's
just that's what my assumption was with it.
Okay.
And then, because we are on Saquon, I think the decision, it seems to be that they're going to bench him. As just a fan of football, what do you think of that decision?
Like, if I were an Eagles fan, I would want him to play. I think it is a 40-year-old record. It's a milestone career, Mount Rushmore type of. I mean, it's not like a trophy or an award, or even
your name's in the history books. With the way, I didn't think this record would get this close is for the rushing yardage, just because the way the game's played today.
Yeah, and even despite the extra game, he's still gonna do it if he tried with less attempts. than Dickerson had by quite a bit. So I get the risk, but I think you have to. I think you have to go for it. So I just feel for Saquon. I do believe that Saquon probably doesn't care that much. I do buy that.
Disagree. I don't.
I buy that he doesn't care that much.
It's tough for me to look at it, and I think if you go back and you ask Adrian Peterson when he came, if he was 7 yards away, I had him that year. He won me a fantasy football championship that year. Actually, no, he didn't. I think I traded him away that year, and he got me picks for next season. But I think if you talk to him, he'd like to have gotten it. I think in your heart of hearts, it's easy to say and be the team guy. No, you're right. I didn't come here to, and he said it. I didn't come here to win, break the record. I came here to win a Super Bowl. And I think, I think that's right. I think he could say that. I think he truly believes that. I agree with it. He didn't come here to break a record. But if you have an opportunity, will he be the greatest running back of all time? No. I don't know. I don't know where he's going to be on the list. He'll probably finish as one of the, he may be a top 10 rusher. I don't know how close he can get with his injuries, but if you have a chance to go on that, top season, everybody remembers. I think we all remember Randy Moss's season. We remember Manning's season. We remember Brady's season. You remember those type of performances.
Mm-hmm.
You remember LT's 28 touchdown year. Like those are things that stick with you. So him getting the record,
show on turf.
Yes, it's something special, and there's something special about Saquon this season. And just come on, when you go back, they can go back and show the great moments from this season with that play where him jumping backwards over a dude. That'll be and I get it's a great play, but now you put that on top of an all-time rushing season. That makes that play, a little more special. They'll show it a little more often, and it'll be one of those things. Like, I think that's what this season could be. I don't buy the fact. I really hate the fact to rest dudes. You don't want to injuries. I get it. You play a tough game. That's what you do. That's what you risk. And it sounds dumb. We risk injuries every day when we drive to work. You never know. You can get in a car accident. I'm not going to not drive to work because I could be in a car accident. I get you're trying to save him, but he could get injured walking down the street. I understand he could get injured next game. When I look at it, if I'm the Eagles, I'm a little upset because I look at it more as we all remember when Peyton Manning was 14-0, had the number 1 seed locked up. They benched him the next 2 weeks, played the backups. Colts lost. If I'm the Eagles, my quarterback now could be 2 weeks without playing. I don't know if he's cleared to play this week. I'd assume he is. I have to look at, but I'm thinking if he's cleared to play, I want my starters in there, at least for a little bit. Let's see what Saquon can do by halftime. If he can't get it, if we know he's not out of reach and we're going to sit everybody, at that point, do it. But I think you gotta give him the opportunity, man. You gotta give the kid the opportunity to go chase history, because you don't know if you'll ever get it again.
Let me ask you this. Quick question: a yes or no? If you're an offensive lineman, do you want him to go for it?
Yeah.
Okay, I think so too. Is there anything Saquon can do with what's left in his contract in Philly to edge CMC when it's all said and done, as to who had the better career?
Oh, the Super Bowl.
Okay.
I don't think either one of them, I don't think either one of them will ever get an MVP. And it really depends where the yardage at, because I think Saquon's up there, but CMC is too. Man, a 2,000 yard season really puts you in territory it's rare air. So, man, I think at this point, when you look at I don't know, Saquon's probably higher. I think Saquon, I think we forget how great Saquon was before. everybody forgets CMC was injured a lot in Carolina. He had a couple good years here with San Fran. I think that's what put CMC back on the map with San Fran and his ability for that team. He was terrible this year when he played, didn't play much. Like I think when you look at Saquon, I just based off this last, and I think over their careers, I think Saquon's probably been the better running back. CMC can do more things, but just a running back, man. And I think Saquon could probably catch just as well as him. I don't think Saquon's a terrible receiver out of the backfield. You know, he has 321 career catches. So, you know, he does catch the ball pretty well. He's not going to catch 70, 80, but then CMC is not going to rush the ball 345 times a year. You know, so
yeah.
I think Barkley is better as just an overall running back, pure running back. I'm taking Barkley. And those quads, dude.
Interesting.
Next level.
Interesting. I mean, well, I think it's tough. I don't know if I could. That's why I'm like thinking in my head, well, who would I take? I mean, you can't really go wrong with one or the other.
No, I think it really depends on your play style. If you want a guy that's going to, if you want to pound the rock, you go Barkley. If you want to throw the ball more, you go CMC.
Yeah, that's probably the way to put it.
Because I think, you know, CMC does perfect, but I think anybody can really play that Shanahan style. You know, I think the Shanahan's shown they can really recycle running backs there.
Yeah, and my other thought was that if he did beat the record, he deserves league MVP, hands down.
I disagree.
He does.
No, I disagree. I don't think just because you break a record, just because you carry, you know, that's tough. Because I still think, because the Eagles without him are probably still a 12-win team right now. Like going in this last week of the season, I don't see any games that change much without Saquon. Like, because I still think they can run pretty well.
Okay. I would have to go back and look at some of the closer games, but I would definitely say Saquon has to account if I went into the stats, at least 3 wins.
Okay. Well, it's tough. And he's a good listen. He's great. He's a great back. I wish I was the guy I thought Dallas, I wanted Dallas to go after, but kind of knew they weren't going to. So before we really head into everything, I do have a question for you. Because we were talking about it, and when we're going to, after this show, I know we're going to are going to have a final show. Do you think, regardless of the outcome of this game, do you think McCarthy comes back?
Yeah, I came across a headline. I think I saw it on X. I don't know if it was from blogging the boys, or I mean, it was a reputable kind of media outlet, and it said that there hasn't been any talks between the Jones and McCarthy regarding an extension.
Well, that's good.
And yeah, I think that's good.
But yeah, no, I know there's a little difficulty, but that extension, you don't want him getting an extension with the way he's played this season or just coached over the last couple.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't think, I think we've seen enough. And I think we've both I've beaten that horse dead.
Yeah.
But I think we've seen what his limitations are here as a coach. So I think it's tough it's going to be tough. If they bring him back, I don't know how you can do it and justify it.
So I was going to say that my guess is that before the wild card weekend, a decision will be made.
I agree, because it has to be done before. I think before. What is it? The weekend before the Super Bowl, because that's when, if you do want to interview one of those coaches that are going. So I think you want to make one as soon as possible, because you want to have a jump on the top candidates. If you're Dallas, I think you want, after this game, if you're Jerry and you're kind of leaning, you're going to say either way pretty soon. But if you're right, I think if he's not fired quickly, I think he's or not fired. But if there's no news early, I think if they don't say anything, he's coming back.
And you know what? It pains me to say this, but if Sirianni gets fired by the Eagles because of a first round loss.
Don't say it.
I project that Jerry Jones will interview him.
I hope not, because he's a terrible coach.
I'm not saying he's going to hire him, but I would bet that he would interview him.
I hope not. I hope not. But looking at the other things this weekend, Cowboys kind of regardless of how we feel, there's a game against Commanders this weekend, and Commanders want to win. When you're looking at the playoff standings this week, they're in a very tough position. They're right now they're the sixth. No, yes, the sixth wild card, 16. They can only go to 7th. They can't move up. They can only drop down. They do hold a tiebreaker with the Packers, but the Packers play the Chicago Bears. So the Packers are going to play to win, because if they can win and somehow Dallas pulls this out, they can move up. And, the key to that is you either going from playing the Philadelphia Eagles to potentially playing the Bucs or the Rams. So I think the difference between playing the Bucs and the Rams and the Eagles is a big deal. The Eagles are one of those teams that are projected to win the Super Bowl or at least make it. So I think, you want to win this game this weekend. If you are the Commanders, you want to make it a little bit easier on your quarterback going in. You don't want to have to, I know we discussed in the green room where, if you're the Commanders, you do have, a little bit of confidence going in because you did beat the Eagles last time. But as you so eloquently pointed out, they did need a lot. But again, if you look at the other side, as confident as you are, the Eagles know they're a better team and they know they let one get away. So they're going to be coming angry. So if you're the Commanders, you have everything to play for this weekend. You want to come in, you want to put your best foot forward. You want to get your quarterback ready for the big time. It's going to be a road playoff game. So if you're the Commanders this weekend, you want to put your best foot forward, man. You got to put everything on his plate. You're playing at Dallas. It's going to be a loud crowd. I think you want to get them going. You want to play to the best if you're the Commanders. Kind of do what Jalen does best. Jaden Daniels, man, just get that run. Let him go run a little bit and make plays. He's a kid I think that can develop into a quarterback. He has that potential, has the arm. He just still needs that development, but he's got some very athletic ability. The kid looks good, and he also has a lot of weapons around him. Zach Ertz somehow is having resurgence year. Scary Terry's always very good. And they have a couple of running backs back there that can really run and catch the ball. So when you look at it this week, do they just have to show up to win, do you think, against this Dallas team, kind of where they're at now?
I think there's some of that. I mean, you got Parsons that's going to play, and he's going to be doing his thing. He's not going to take his foot off the gas.
Yeah. Right.
So you have to look out for him. But realistically, if you want to win this game by just being a bully on our DBs, you can do it. If you want to win the game and make it like a 2.5-hour game and just run it up the middle, you can do it. So I think it just depends on, Dan Quinn, how they want to win, right?
Dang.
I think they'll be able they could do whatever they want. I think best case scenario for them is they go up 3 possessions and midway through the third quarter, they take their starters out. But I would also even project that if they're somehow, some way down 2 possessions and going into the fourth quarter, they probably just wave the flag and say, okay, let's
see. That's tough because we beat them last. So I think we beat them in Washington. So I think, as much as I said, like we just said, the Eagles know they're the better team against against the Commanders. I think the Commanders kind of know they're the better team. So I think even if they're down 2 scores going to that fourth, I think they know, especially with the way last time happened, man. When Dallas kind of didn't have it, then had it, then maybe didn't have it. It was a wild end of that fourth quarter. So if you're Washington, you're coming to I think you're coming to bully. You want to be up pretty big going in, like you said. I think they're projecting to put the foot on the pedal. I wouldn't be surprised if they get the kickoff. If they win the coin toss, they're going to take the kickoff. They're going to go Little Giants football, as except it wasn't. They'll go the Cowboys side. We're going to take the ball and score. Then we're going to take the ball from you and score. They're going to do it all. That's what they're going to try to do this weekend. But if you look at it from the Cowboys side, I know we won last game. How do you beat this team a second time when clearly, just overall, you don't have Dak, you don't have a lot of your defensive guys. They're just the better team. How do you pull that out again?
Yeah, you have Jaden Daniels make rookie type of mistakes. You don't let him extend plays. You don't let him use his legs for first downs. You kind of they have the tendency to shoot themselves in the foot with like holding calls and pushing themselves back, and you just kind of have to force them to you gotta force them to be like as one dimensional as possible. But it's just so hard. It's hard. With the Cowboys, I don't know if you would agree with this, but when it's your last game of the year, it's like you want to go out there and play. It doesn't matter if you really get hurt because you're going into the off season, right? So it's not obviously it's not the Super Bowl, but that's kind of the Super Bowl mindset. Like this is it. Like
yeah, you're done. There is no tomorrow. This is the replacements. There's no tomorrow. You got just go out, give it your all. Because listen, I think if it is about pride in that game. I do remember. Everyone says that Dallas Commanders is that's more the big rivalry for Dallas. So if you're Dallas and you could beat your rival, you could beat the Commanders twice in a season, and then hopefully knock them out and make them have to go play the Eagles in the first round, man. Yeah, you got to go do everything you do to do that. You got to put it. I think it's going to be tough. There were some misfortune last game. You had the block kick, and Aubrey missed the kick. It was a tough game for Aubrey. That was his rough. He was a couple games there where he had a rough stretch. But if you're Dallas, you really I think you do need to get Turpin involved. You need to get Rico kind of had a game like you had last time. I think you want him to get 20 carries if you can get 100 yards, get a touchdown. You need some of that, and Turpin's got to be involved. He's got to get. I'd like to see him get 4 to 5 touches on offense. Between screens and just running the ball, maybe a couple receptions, get him in there. Maybe 6. But he's got to be big in the return game. I think that's how you win. And you got to contain Daniels this time, man. That fourth quarter, the kid was a magician. He gave up that terrible play. Scary Terry at the end there.
Yeah, that was terrible.
It was a rough look, but if Micah can come in and he plays, you get a couple plays here and there. Like Bland can still go get the ball, so you have an opportunity. But you really, I think you're right. You got to make them one dimensional. And if you're Dallas, you gotta get I think Turpin's actually the biggest key to this game for Dallas. If you want to win, Turpin's got to get going. I think in both facets of the game. I think both in special teams and offense, because I believe Dowdle's going to do what he's going to do. I think he's going to get his 20 touches regardless. He has to. So I think Turpin's going to be the key to this game this week.
Well, you kind of reminded me that Bland broke the record against the Commanders, isn't that right? He broke the interception touchdowns in one season.
Oh yeah, wasn't it? Was it? Yeah,
the Commanders last season.
I think you're right.
Yeah, it's just going to depend. If our defense, I think, scores some touchdowns. But it's been as dominant as we had been going into this season at home, that we've just kind of lost that home field advantage. And, this has just been a pretty deflating and, emotionally exhausting year as a fan to watch these guys.
You'd like to send them out on a high note, right? You're 2-6 at home. You know,
And
you get that extra home game, and you could be 2-7 at home this year
but
after
what about the
going.
draft pick?
Listen, you screwed that up when you decided to go 4-5, bro. Like, it's not like we're already got 7 wins. Like, if we didn't win 4 out of 5 games, I'm with you. Throw it. Let's lose. You're already 7-8. Like 7-9. Okay, you maybe go from 22 to 18. I don't. Come on. Like, no, yeah, they killed that when they decided to go win 4 out of 5 and put themselves back in the playoff talk. I'd rather see him just smack the Commanders around at this point. I'd like to see Micah go get a 3-sack game. You know, if you're Dallas, you do want to go out with pride. You want to go out in front of your home crowd playing the best ball. Like, I get you sucked all year, but go out on a high note at home. That's what you need to do. Go out and show the team that you thought you could be, if not for one game.
Mm-hmm.
For one game. You know,
I
but
mean,
go ahead.
I can't find the motivation as a fan. Even
What?
putting Commanders in a worse
This
seed,
guy.
it doesn't make me feel any better about this season.
But come on, Mr. Positivity. I'm over here come on. These roles are reverse over here, but I don't like it. You're my guy. Usually always is. So going down to it, now that it's prediction time.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I want to win. I want to get a win this weekend. I don't think they can. I think Jaden Daniels, I think Dan Quinn, you know, the Eagles want to, or the Cowboys want to get one, but I think Dan Quinn comes into Dallas, you know, and smacks them around. You know, I do think the starters for Washington are out probably I think they're definitely coming out in that fourth quarter, if not late third. Because I think Dallas gets down quick and just gives up.
So I think the Commanders will win, but I think it'll be more based on their desire to win. For them, they're motivated by the seed. So I do think they're going to come out and play it as almost basically as their first playoff game. And I don't think the Cowboys, I think they will play hard. I think McCarthy is going to go deep into the playbook. I do think I expect 2 trick plays at least. Maybe a flea flicker. Is that what it's called?
Flea flicker, yeah. You could. Yeah. You got Turpin going.
I expect some trick plays. You know what I haven't seen this year actually in all the NFL is when you have 2 punt returners and then one of them pretends that they're going for the catch.
Bro, I think I've only ever seen that the one time it worked. And maybe that's only because they only ever showed it the one time I ever saw it work. But
we'll probably see a reverse Turpin pitching a reverse on a kick return. And McCarthy, he's going to try to make some sort of statement.
I would love to see an end around pass with Turpin because everybody's expecting him to run. If you could get the old, toss to Turpin and have, like Friday Night Lights, man, my boy Mike Winchell tosses it over. It's not Boobie Miles, it's the other one, but bam, he hits him right in the state championship game. Boom, hits him in the end zone. That's what I want. I want to see Rush and Turpin do that, bro. Just toss it to Turp. Rush just bootleg, bam, Tutter. That's how we win. That's how we're going to win this game. If Dallas is going to win it, they're going to have to get creative to keep the Commanders on their toes. But I don't think they will.
Yeah, I think.
I'm excited now, though.
I think Commanders win convincingly, and it's probably by halftime. It's probably done.
Oh wow. Okay, and that would not shock me with the way the season's going, with the way Dallas played at home. You kind of feel like that's coming. They're 2-6, have not played well, look very bad most games. This disappointing season, disappointing year. Not what we thought we'd be. We didn't think this would be our last actual game preview show. Week 18. I thought we'd at least get a wild card, if not a divisional round. Kind of was hoping for an NFC Championship game, at least with the way this team was, how great that defense was the last couple years in takeaways and sacks. And how well they played. He really expected high expectations, and then it came crumbling down with Dak, and then all those other injuries. The team caught the injury bug this year. You can't really do anything about it. You kind of hope they don't really say, "Hey, McCarthy deserves another opportunity because of it." But hey, right now, this is the last show of the season. Well, not of the season. We will have our final I'm sorry. We will be back next Thursday for the post game for the Commanders game. We will be back next Thursday. But that one we would sort of forewarn everyone. The Commanders game after that, we will go on a little bit of a break until we get the McCarthy news. Because of course this is the last game of the year for us Cowboys fans. We're going to enjoy the playoffs like everyone else, but we'll watch it from home like we do most years after about the first round anyway. Really feels like that anymore. Maybe we get to a divisional round, but that's about it. But we'll be back Thursday with the post game for the Commanders, and then we'll wait for the McCarthy news, whether he's coming back or not, to really give our post game thoughts or our postseason thoughts, because it's really going to be tough to really break down everything if you don't know what's going on with your head coach, because I'm sure the sentiment will be different with him coming back than it would be him leaving. So I think there's a lot to wait for there. So we'll be back next Thursday with the post game for the Commanders. I guess we're both hoping for a loss here just to help the draft seed, but I'd like to see a win. Let's go out, get a dub. I'm sure Aaron wants that too. He's being his positivity by the weekend will be hoping for.
I could use a pick me up.
Yeah, and then a snow day Monday. So hey, we get a win in a snow day Monday. That's a great weekend right there. That's all I need. And it's payday weekend. Beautiful weekend, bud. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a great one. So for everybody, Jason Kent, Mr. Aaron James, we appreciate everyone for checking us out, giving us a watch, giving us a listen. No matter where it is, Ring the Bell Podcast Network, Cowboys Takeover Network, or Cowboys Takeover Podcast, both on YouTube and Facebook. We really appreciate you guys. Again, we can't really be sorry because we weren't the ones that lost. But we know we apologize for this season, man. It was tough. It was tough on us. You think it's easy to get on this mic every, after a 41-7 loss to the Eagles after hearing it? It's tough. Listen, the 4 out of 5 really set us back. Because I'd have been really excited right now if we were playing if we had 3 wins and we're going for that number 1 draft pick. I'd be excited right now. Being middle of the pack is kind of blah. It's tough.
Yeah.
But till next Thursday, we'll break it down. We'll see everybody. Love you all. Thank you all. We really appreciate you guys for checking things out every week. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, get those notifications when we do go live. Love you all. Appreciate you. See you next week.